why does silence drive people crazy? Why does it seem like no contact is one of the hardest things that you'll ever do after a relationship? But why is not reaching out one of the most powerful ways to get your ex back? Well, as you've probably guessed by this video, there's actual psychology behind the things that I've been saying, behind the things that people believe about no contact, and I've got it all right here in this video. Now, we are talking about true no contact, which some people would argue is different from no contact, but the thing is, they're one and the same. Some people go no contact, but they're still liking all of their ex's reels, they're viewing all their stories, they're doing things of this nature that just gives them free validation, which is the exact same thing they get whenever you reach out and message them, which doesn't really count as no contact then. So when I say no contact, I mean true no contact. You are not involved in their life whatsoever. An absolute bare minimum. If you have to see them at work or school, you're polite to them, but you're detached and you use like a customer service voice with them. First off, we're gonna go from Helen Fisher's study about withdrawal. Now, what's interesting is that while you're in the relationship, this is what she found, that the same parts of your brain that are active while you're in the relationship are the same parts of your brain that are active if you take hard drugs. So what she found was that when a breakup happens, is that you're gonna go through emotional withdrawal, which is going to be nearly totally similar as an addict goes through withdrawal when it comes to hard drugs. Now, the good news about this is that not only are you going to go through it, but your ex-partner is gonna go through it as well, and you're going to force them to go through it, you guessed it, by going no contact. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you know as well as I do how good it feels to just wake up next to them or to even get a text from them first thing in the morning, and you get those hits of dopamine, those small hits of dopamine throughout the day. And maybe at the end of the night when you're talking to them for an hour, for a couple hours, something like that, you get a huge spike of dopamine from them. And here's the thing, when that relationship is over, both parties now have to go through withdrawal, and you're not going to make your partner, your ex-partner, go through that if you do not go no contact. That's part of the reason why begging, chasing, pleading at the end of a relationship is so destructive to you, because you're the only one going through those withdrawal symptoms. They're not, because they're still getting all of your love and time and affection and all of these things that they no longer have to go without. That absence creates emotional dissonance that often increases longing. Next, let's get into what's called reactance theory. That's a really fancy sounding term, and what it basically means is that when people feel their freedom to choose taken away from them, they often want the thing that was taken away from them more. So after your ex has decided to end that relationship, they're off now, they're going their own way, you've begged, you've pleaded, you've done all of that. Whenever you go no contact, what you're doing is that you're inciting this reactance theory. You're telling them, you know what, you can't have me now even if you wanted me back. And you do that not by texting them that, not by calling them and exploding and yelling that at them, but by simply withdrawing and going no contact. Your silence is going to say more and prove more, because people say things all the time that they don't mean, especially when they're angry or they're upset, and your ex knows that. So whenever you tell your ex, we're done, I'm never talking to you again, yeah, the vast majority of people know that that's just simply not true. But when you go silent, whenever you take away your time and your energy, your affection, your attention, you take all that back from them and you go true no contact, what you're doing is you're inciting this reactance theory by telling them, you know what, you couldn't have me now if you wanted me. And that silence is perceived, not at first, but eventually as rejection. Even though they're the ones that left you, that same freedom that they felt, or that elation, that relief that they felt at the beginning of their new relationship or when they broke up with you, now starts to feel like a loss of control, because they no longer have any control over you. Now let's talk about attachment styles and no contact. If you're a normal person or a securely attached person, you would be what they would consider average or healthy in a relationship and a breakup. Now, if you have an anxious attachment, that means that you really don't do well without your partner. If you go a day without hearing from your partner, you cannot stand it. You will freak out, you'll double text them, you'll triple text them, you'll do whatever it takes just to get them to reach back out to you. Whether that's blocking them prematurely to incite a reaction, or calling them and blowing up at them, pissing them off. Everyone knows that at least anger, that at least hatred is better than nothing, which is why the opposite of love isn't hatred, it's indifference. And you know that as long as you can piss them off at least it proves that they still care about you. Which is why people think that if they don't chase me, if they don't react a certain way to what I'm about to do, their little games, you somehow don't care about them. When a secure person will just kind of let you play your little games. They're gonna let you run out of energy like a toddler in the yard. It's like, bro, whatever, man. Once you're done running around and doing your little bullshit, then yeah, come on in. Here's a juice box, sit down, I'll put on some SpongeBob and you can shut the hell up. Sometimes people are immature like that, okay? And sometimes that's what they need. The point being, when those games are done and they're actually ready to re-engage in the relationship, you're there with open arms and you're there to reward them for acting like an adult. Now let's talk about the avoidance. Avoidance are people who have deep psychological wounds that came from their early childhood, that what they do is they bring them forward into pretty much all of their adult relationships, whether that's their lovers or that's a family member or even friendships. Avoidants tend to compartmentalize the relationship and feelings. So what they do when they break up is they'll take you and they'll take all the feelings for you and they'll bury you. And they bury you much farther than a normal person would. Now, of course, that's not actually dealing with them. What tends to happen is a few months down the road. See, a normal ex, it only takes a few weeks, maybe a few months at the most. But an avoidant takes a few months at least to start to miss you, start to wonder why they still feel like they're not over you, and they really start to kind of wonder, oh, I guess I can't leave the relationship without some bit of closure, because that's a key difference, is that the avoidant will actually leave with little to no closure. They tend to make mountains out of molehills, or as I like to say, they like to make planets out of pebbles. And the hard and simple truth is they just leave. Like, there's no fight with them a lot. It's just they ghost and they're gone. They'll detach during the relationship often, and then one day they just say, I've really had enough of this. Even if things are going very well, that's the difficulty of dealing with an avoidant. But avoidants often romanticize their exes further on down the road, and we're talking months later, months after the relationship has already ended, as long as you give them that space. It's called the phantom ex phenomenon. So once again, going no contact, even with an avoidant, is absolutely necessary. Now let's talk about the reset button. The reset button is something that every single one of us knows. You had a bad day at work, you had a bad day at school, you just need to come home and reset. And by reset, typically, it means that you're not really dealing with anybody. You damn sure aren't dealing with school or work. This is also the basis of no contact. It gives both of you a time to reset. When those emotions are high, when those chaotic things come in, whenever all these troubles and turbulences start to hit your relationship, all of a sudden, you just need maybe a day or two apart, something like that. So you go no contact, hopefully just for a couple days, maybe a week or two, and the other person or you reaches back out and says, hey, you good? We're good? Okay, great. As long as neither of you are actually seeing other people, then some time apart can actually do you some good. Now, usually, yes, a break is a breakup. If somebody says they need time, they need space, you need to treat that immediately like they are breaking up with you, even if they swear they're not. This allows the dumper to feel the loss of the relationship and, most importantly, of you. And oftentimes during a relationship, a guy will get very clingy and the girl will actually break up with him because of his neediness, because of his clinginess, because she knows that that is the antithesis to masculinity itself. So when you demonstrate your masculinity by no contact, by letting her have her space, letting her go, you'll often find that those exes, the vast majority of the time, will come back because now you're demonstrating masculinity. Now she's starting to become reattracted to you, and hey, there you still are. What are you up to tonight? So no contact prevents you from doing any more damage by being even needier, by acting desperate, by blowing up their phone and doing all this other nonsense that is seriously a red flag for any woman. Without that space, reconciliation can often fail due to lingering resentment. The study basically found that nearly 40% of couples who break up end up getting back together. Now again, that 40% are couples that actually get back together. We're not even talking about a reach out, another date, times that they've had sex. We're talking about people who have not just gotten a successful reach out, another date, they've hooked up again, but they've actually rekindled the entire relationship. Many exes, especially avoidants, don't come back when they miss you. They come back when they feel like it's safe to do so. And oftentimes, months later down the road, whenever you've already moved on to somebody else, and the counterintuitive nature of it all is that's what makes them feel safer, when they feel like you're just about to or already have moved on. No contact isn't really about winning someone back. It's about reclaiming your self-worth and doing it in a way that words alone simply could not do. So remember this, lil bro, lil sis, if you want your ex to miss you, to think about you, to ruminate about you, to regret losing you, any of the above, if you really want to be remembered, be silent. This video alone proves that there are about 5 different psychological ideas or theories that are working in your favor and not your ex's favor while you go no contact with them. Lil bro, lil sis, you've got this, and I've got you. I'll see you in the next one.